Hey everyone, it's Kaelin Anderson. Welcome back to my channel, Pour Special Events. In this episode, I want to go over why being a bartender first has made me a successful mobile bar owner. So I want to preface that again by saying that we are a mobile bartending service in my local community. We do not provide the alcohol. We operate BYOB to comply with all of our Pennsylvania liquor laws and everything that we have in place. And I have been seeing a ton of, in the different online communities that I follow and different trends that we're seeing with all of these horse trailer bars, mobile bars, camper bars, mobile coffee shops, mobile retailers, like all of these fun things. They're so creative. They're amazing. But I see a lot of these mobile business owners build their trailers and then instantly within about a season or even just during their build say, hey, this might not be for me. I'm selling. Is anybody interested? And I wanted to kind of share a few reasons why I feel you can be a mobile bar owner without ever have been being a bartender. Definitely. I have another video on my channel about that. But why I feel like I have been able to kind of stay in this business a very long time. Why being a bartender first has been important to helping with that, and just kind of setting realistic expectations for being a business owner. Because I will tell you right now, this is not passive. So nothing about being any kind of a mobile business owner is passive. Okay, you're dealing with, if you are mobile and you are carting trailers or moving things with vehicles and your business is at a different location every weekend, none of that is passive. It takes a ton of coordination, organization, making sure you have all the supplies that you need, having a warehouse space to put those supplies, organizing throughout the week of your timelines of how long the events will go, how long you'll be away from home, what things you're going to need, all of that stuff. So even if you get to the point where you are managing your business as an owner and you have staff that are out doing your events for you, a big chunk of your week is going to consist on making sure they have everything they need and you coordinating all the behind the scenes. They know exactly what's expected. They have all of the utensils or objects that they need. They're at location on time and they are organized and ready to go. So I wanted to go through a couple of reasons why I feel like being a bartender first has made me a successful bar owner. The number one thing is knowing how to make drinks. Old school making drinks, all sorts of drinks. So the local bars that I used to work in before I opened my own business were all different kinds. I did fine dining, white tablecloths, water glasses, very high-end entree meals, only open, for certain hours of the day, dinner hours, or certain days of the week. And that really allowed me to have the discipline to make really high-end drinks. Martinis and, old fashions and Manhattans, all of these drinks that, you wouldn't get from a hole in the wall bar, things that are typically a higher end, using a higher shelf spirit, different techniques that you would use, nicer glassware, to finish them off in, and drinks that, command a high price, $10, $15 drinks. Knowing those kinds of things are really nice when you're doing some very high-end events, high-end weddings, or private events where they really want a high-end cocktail menu. So that's super helpful. You can always look online. You can always do simple Google search, learn how to make this stuff. But if you're like us where you are a BYOB, where you're not grabbing that alcohol and bringing it to the event, they're doing it for you. You're not necessarily going to have that alcohol in your possession to be kind of like practicing and doing stuff with. So the biggest thing was I know tons and tons of drinks and I'm able to kind of lead my team and say, hey, like this is how you make them. This is the right way. This should be stirred. This should be shaken. Things with citrus need to be shaken. It expands the molecules. It really gives a different flavor. What do you garnish them with? All sorts of things. So I've been really able to give that knowledge to my team because I've been in a variety of different, whether they were restaurant, bar, fine dining, hole in the wall bar, the in-between bar. I've kind of done all of those things first, and it's really, really helped me. Again, watching any of our other videos, you will see the other one that I make where I say you don't have to, because you're going to be able to communicate with your clients and figure out kind of what menu they want ahead of time, and then you can really focus on those few drinks. It's not like you'll have a full open bar every single time where you have to know on the fly, you know, what to make. So that's the opposite side of it. Another reason why I feel like being a bartender first has helped me from a business owner standpoint and the longevity of this business is because I know how to deal with people. Special events are harder. I say special events are harder because they're so unique. If you are doing a wedding, and you are primarily doing weddings, this is their one shot to get it right. This is their one shot to have their perfect, magical day. They want it perfect. There's no room for error. Everything has to go off without a hitch. Every detail, every, the timeline, the order of the events, your cocktails, everything has to be perfect. The slightest thing going wrong is unacceptable because it's their most important day. And I have a little joke that, we're maybe only doing this once or twice when it comes to weddings. But there's a very small margin of error. So I think being a bartender first, working in bars, dealing with a variety of people from a variety of walks of life who may be entering the doors of that bar under good circumstance, under bad circumstance, you get to understand how to work with people, how to communicate with people. And I really, if you're opening a mobile business and you're like, this is crazy, this is nuts, we're always going, every weekend is booked, try and work in a bar first for someone else where you have to go to that job those same days every single week. And you have to work through happy hour and you have to work till 3 a.m. And the money that you're making is not always consistent with how much effort you're putting in because it just depends on who's walking through the door that night and how they tip you. You really become thankful very quickly for being your own boss, being able to pick and choose which events you want to do, the clients you want to serve, and the positivity of the space that you're working in. So yes, weddings are high stake, right? Everything needs to be perfect, but they're celebrating a very important day in their lives. Families are coming together. They're excited. They're joking. They're, probably staying on location or somewhere close by. They're celebrating these lives and they're happy. They're not, woe is me, it's a Tuesday night, work is hard, life is hard, sharing with you all of their struggles that they may be doing in another place of employment. So really, the atmosphere behind doing special events is wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. That's another reason why I'm thankful for having that bartending experience prior, because I see what kind of atmosphere you can have versus what you get when you're doing special events in this industry. Another thing is the money. So how much money I used to make per night, and knowing that you're on that schedule, knowing that you have to work. I am the Thursday through Sunday night bartender. I am there every week. I don't get off unless I ask off way ahead of time, and usually you have to find someone to cover your shift yourself. Especially if you're a really, really, really good bartender, they don't want you off your shift because they want you there to make that money to bring in that crowd. So now you could be booked from a Thursday to a Sunday night, but if you're using like one of the other videos I talked about, like our policy, like a 5-hour policy, if that's what goes with the venue, you're making money in a 5-hour time frame instead of 12 hours. You can make X amount more dollars plus tips, and you're in a fun environment doing a fun event, and it's different every day that you're going somewhere. It's not the same clients in the same place, the same chairs week after week after week. The other thing too about being a bartender first before being a mobile bar owner, you don't need to have the big fancy bar. I've talked about this in many of our videos. If you have that skill set, You have that skill. That's the one thing I am so thankful for as a bartender. I have that skill that I can make you drinks. I could walk into anyone's bar, and if you tell me what you're looking for, once I look around, find where everything is, I can make you those drinks. I can make you them again and again and again and again. It's a skill that I have, that I've perfected, that I've worked really hard for. I know how to do that communication. I know how. So once you know that skill, just like anything, it's not something someone can take away from you. So it's really nice to have that skill set, because if you are just starting out, if you don't want to put a lot of money into your startup, if you just want to provide that service, that bartending service, you can. Because you can look at venues and you can market yourself to venues that already have bars, that already have drink packages, that already have staging items and rentals and all that. There are venues out there that are already all set. They just need someone to come in and do it. And you could be that person if you have that bartending knowledge and background skill set. So that's another reason why I feel like being a bartender first was super helpful and important to getting my business off the ground. Help me get that capital. Then I could build my big fancy bars. Also, this kind of goes with not wanting to spend money at first, but knowing how to be thrifty. So as I was saying, you have worked in bars. You know you only make X amount of dollars per night on a good night, maybe a little bit higher, maybe lower, and you're stuck there for that many hours. Now, and you were making ends meet doing things that way. Now you say, hey, like, this is the vision I have for my company or my brand. This is what we're worth. We're not leaving the office unless we're making this amount. This is what we're worth for this high-end specialty event. We are a luxury service. Brand your business as a luxury service, because if you're working very hard, that's what you are worth. Okay? Make it worth your while. Know what you're worth, charge it, because there's no way to make it a full-time thing unless you're charging accurately. So be thrifty. You don't have to start with big flashy things to start. Put that work ethic in, work hard. Word of mouth is the biggest thing, making those connections with the venue owners, and you will have business like crazy, and you won't be able to keep up, I promise. The other thing too is, the last thing that I was talking about is that, and I've kind of mentioned this, I think, at the beginning of this beginning of this video a little bit, but is that you see a ton of these bars popping up. You see them, they build them, and then they can't finish through the project. They're selling them for all sorts of money. They're trying to, make the money quick. And I get it. They don't realize the commitments and everything. They don't realize that there's going to be complexity to it. It's going to be a lot. So start from scratch. Start with just what you know. If you're a bartender, you want to start your own business, start providing your service. What can you provide? What can you offer? What value do you have in your community? And then as you grow, add on and expand. Dip your toes a little bit further each time, each season. See what is needed in your area. For me, we started with the keg trailer first before the big mobile bar. And the keg trailer itself took a full season to really get off the ground. We had it and we used it for some events, but it took a full season for people to say, oh yeah, she has that. It's really cool. It can be rented out. It's also a refrigerator. We put all of our extra stuff in it. She kept it secured and locked up. It was great. It was awesome. Everybody loved it. They thought it was great. It takes time. So really baby steps, work your way up. And as things are working and growing, increase your prices, increase what you're offering, work at a pace that's good for you. The biggest thing that my husband and I say in our marriage, in business, in life, we are in this for the marathon, not the sprint. So be in it for the marathon. If you can't see yourself doing this in 5 years or 10 years, maybe it's not something you want to dip your feet into. If you're thinking, I'm going to try and I want to be, hitting 100,000 by next year, that's a great goal as long as you have plans to back that up. As long as you know that there's revenue in that area that can substantiate that. But that might not happen. So you need to know, what are your intentions for getting into this business, just like any business, and then why, how you're going to make that happen, how you're going to continue that longevity, how you're going to roll through the punches. I know a lot of business owners, going through COVID, that was a huge thing too, like losing money or having to reschedule contracts or having to give back deposits, all sorts of things. We had to navigate through that as well. I had to, I had clauses in my contracts for new people who were booking saying, for us in our state, if we went back to red, you got the option to change your booking date. You got the option to get a certain percentage of your deposit refunded. We had to provide all of these things and really keep that communication strong, really keep our clients close to us and, figure out how we're going to navigate it together and keep those relationships, because people who didn't keep those relationships and really value them and weren't in it for the long haul, they didn't make it through that time period. They had to close down, or they went bankrupt, or they had a really hard time. So we were really thankful and blessed to say that all of our brides got rescheduled and or got refunded. Everybody was happy, and we made sure we navigated that the best that we could and just kept on trucking. And we then have seen our business grow tenfold since then. So it's all about the relationships. It's all about the community, what service you can provide to your community, and why you're doing it. Is this something that you're really passionate about? And I think if you have that, you will be successful no matter what. But it's not passive. You have to put the work in. And any other questions, please feel free to post them in the comments. I read them. I try and answer back, or at least answer back with another video. And again, if you found any of this helpful, please subscribe and like. I really appreciate it. Thanks.